The rain had been falling since dawn, not the gentle kind that refreshed the earth, but a steady, relentless downpour that soaked shoes, darkened walls, and pressed a quiet heaviness into the city. Streets glistened like mirrors, reflecting tired faces rushing to places they were not excited to be. Among them walked Ayan, his coat thin, his steps careful as if each one carried the weight of a question he had never learned how to ask. He was late again. Late for work, late for life, late for the kind of peace people talked about as if it were a destination. The bakery where he worked opened at 7, and it was already 10 past. He quickened his pace, heart thudding louder than the rain, rehearsing apologies that never seemed to satisfy his manager. It wasn't that Ayan didn't care, it was that caring had become exhausting. Every day felt like an uphill climb with no view at the top. As he turned the corner near the old bus terminal, he nearly collided with a man crouched under the narrow awning of a closed shop. The man looked up, startled, eyes wide and unfocused. His clothes were soaked and threadbare, his beard tangled, rainwater dripping from the ends like punctuation marks in a sentence no one wanted to read. "Watch where you're going," Ayan muttered instinctively, frustration spilling out before thought could stop it. The man didn't respond. He simply lowered his gaze and shifted slightly, as if trying to make himself smaller. Ayan took 2 steps away, then slowed. Something tugged at him, an uncomfortable pull behind the ribs. He told himself it was nothing, just guilt, just the rain making everything feel heavier. Still, he glanced back. The man's hands were trembling. Not dramatically, not in a way that demanded attention, but subtly, like leaves shivering in a weak wind. Ayan noticed then how pale his knuckles were, how his lips had taken on a bluish shade. Cold, he realized. The man was freezing. Ayan checked his watch. If he stopped now, he would be even later. He imagined his manager's sigh, the look that said disappointment without bothering with words. He imagined losing this job, the only fragile thread keeping his life from unraveling completely. He took another step, then stopped again. Without fully understanding why, Ayan turned back. He shrugged off his coat and held it out. "Here," he said, more roughly than he intended. "Take this." The man looked up slowly, disbelief flickering across his face. I can't," he said, voice hoarse. "You'll get sick." Ayan snorted softly. "I'll survive." "You look like you might not." For a moment, the rain filled the silence between them. Then the man reached out, hesitating, as if afraid the offer might vanish. His fingers brushed the coat, and he pulled it around himself with a quiet exhale that sounded almost like relief. "Thank you," the man said. "You didn't have to." Ayan shrugged. "I know." He turned to leave again, but the man spoke once more. "What's your name?" Ayan paused. "Ayan." "I'm Idris," the man said. "May mercy find you today, Ayan." The word struck him strangely. Mercy wasn't something people talked about much anymore. It sounded old, fragile, almost out of place. Ayan nodded awkwardly and walked away, the rain soaking through his shirt now, cold seeping into his bones. He arrived at the bakery 15 minutes late. His manager scolded him as expected, her voice sharp but tired. Ayan accepted it silently, too drained to defend himself. As he tied on his apron, he wondered why he felt lighter despite everything. The cold still clung to him, but something else, something warmer, had settled underneath. The day dragged on. Customers came and went, buying bread and pastries, complaining about the weather, about prices, about things Ayan could not fix. By evening, his feet ached and his hands smelled of flour and yeast. When his shift ended, the rain had slowed to a mist, the sky dim and bruised. As he stepped outside, he saw Idris again, sitting on a bench across the street. The coat hung loosely on his thin frame, but he looked better, less rigid, less faded. Beside him sat a paper bag. Idris noticed Ayan and smiled, a genuine smile that transformed his tired face. "I hoped I'd see you," he said. Ayan hesitated, then crossed the street. "You're still here?" "Yes," Idris said. "But not empty-handed." He lifted the bag slightly. "A kind woman from the soup kitchen gave me food. She said someone paid for an extra meal earlier and left it for anyone who needed it." Ayan felt a flicker of surprise. "That's good." Idris nodded. "It reminded me of you. One act of mercy often wakes another." Ayan didn't know what to say. He sat down beside Idris, the bench cold beneath them. "You don't have a place to go?" he asked quietly. Idris shook his head. "Not yet. But I have hope. That counts for something." They sat in silence for a while, watching people hurry past, umbrellas bobbing like dark flowers. Eventually, Ayan stood. "I should go." Idris handed him the coat. "Thank you again." "Truly." Ayan took it, fingers brushing the damp fabric. "Take care," he said, and meant it more than he expected. Days passed, and life returned to its familiar rhythm. Yet something had shifted. Ayan found himself noticing small things, the way a coworker's hands shook when she thought no one was watching, the exhaustion in his manager's eyes, the quiet gratitude of a child when given an extra cookie. He began offering what he could, a smile, a patient ear, a few extra minutes. None of it felt heroic. It felt necessary. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in soft gold, Ayan spotted Idris outside the bakery again. This time, he was standing, speaking with a man in a clean jacket. Papers were exchanged, hands were shaken. Idris saw Ayan and waved. He approached, eyes bright. "Good news," he said. "I've been offered temporary work at a warehouse. It's not much, but it's a start. They also have a small room I can stay in." "That's great," Ayan said, genuinely happy. Idris studied him for a moment. "You know," he said, "that morning, when you gave me your coat. I was ready to disappear. Not in a dramatic way. Just quietly. But you didn't argue with me. You didn't lecture. You didn't ask for explanations. You simply acted." Ayan shifted uncomfortably. "It was just a coat." Idris smiled softly. "No. It was mercy. And mercy speaks louder than words." Those words stayed with Ayan long after Idris left. They echoed in his mind during sleepless nights and long workdays. He began to understand that mercy wasn't about grand gestures or perfect intentions. It was about responding when something in you whispered, "Stop. See. Care." Months later, the bakery faced hard times. Sales dropped, hours were cut. One afternoon, Ayan was called into the back office. His manager looked at him with an expression he had never seen before, vulnerable, uncertain. "I might have to let someone go," she said quietly. "I hate this part." Ayan swallowed. He thought of his rent, his bills, his fragile stability. He also thought of the countless mornings she had stayed late, covering shifts, keeping the bakery alive. Mercy stirred again, uncomfortable and insistent. "If it has to be someone," Ayan said slowly, "let it be me. I can manage for a bit. Others have families." She stared at him, stunned. "You don't have to do that." "I know," he said. "But I want to." The decision wasn't easy. The weeks that followed were hard, filled with uncertainty and fear. Yet Ayan found unexpected support. A former coworker connected him with freelance work. A neighbor offered discounted groceries. Small mercies arrived from unexpected places, each one a quiet reminder that kindness, once released, has a way of circling back. One evening, as Ayan walked home under a clear sky, he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time, peace. Not the kind that erased problems, but the kind that made them bearable. He passed the old bus terminal, now dry and lit by warm yellow lights. The awning where Idris had once crouched stood empty. Ayan paused there, remembering the rain, the cold, the hesitation. He realized that moment had not changed the world. It had changed him. Mercy had spoken that day, not in speeches or promises, but in a simple act that said, "You matter." And in listening to it, Ayan had learned a language more powerful than words, one that continued to shape his steps, guiding him quietly, faithfully, through the ordinary miracle of being human.